Hello, people. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Scott, and this is a Taylor 814. We're going to be looking at the fret divots and this big old crack. Okay, and this one's a 2010 CV11082400. Well, the second and seventh digits are the year. Well, she had previously taken this guitar in for crack repair over to Carter Vintage across town in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know what it looked like when they were done with it, but it looks like crap now. They probably did a good job and then something happened. No one would pay for a guitar that looked like that. Ah, jeez. I just noticed there's a big crack in the bridge. I'm going to take the strings off. We're going to look inside of this thing. Upon closer inspection of this guitar, we've got a big old rise in the tongue up here. This is a 10 thou feeler gauge. There is no way you should be able to fit a feeler gauge right here. We might have to take the neck off this one. Because what makes matters worse is that they've already taken the saddle down so low that it's starting to sound like a sitar on the high E, a little bit on the B. And we need more saddle. And we can totally get that with a neck reset, or neck adjustment they call it with Taylors. Okay, what makes things worse too is that they've completely straightened the neck, so there's no relief. At most 1/1000th of an inch. There should be closer to 8/1000ths here, and we've got double zeros. We need relief in a neck, and we definitely don't want a ski jump up there at the tongue. So the neck's going to come off. We're going to fix some cracks. Maybe we'll do the frets too if she can afford it. We'll get a little bit of relief in the neck by turning it counterclockwise. 1/4 inch hex. We're looking through the sound hole here. We got some mirrors down in the bottom. I'm going to drop some naphtha down in this crack. And we're going to see it pouring out the soundboard there. So it is a wide open gaping crack that goes all the way through the wood. Okay, so I'm going to warm it back up, get some glue in there, clamp these down, and come back in a few hours, see how we did. So there's the stuff I used right there. I added a little water. I watered it down to thin it, brushed it in with that, and pumped it in with this. This is a cell phone holder, like so you can kind of hold your cell phone with one hand. It just sticks on the cell phone. But it's a suction cup. There you go. And we'll come back in a few hours and we'll see. If we make some progress, that's good enough. We're not looking for perfection, just progress today. Veiling of the joint here. Okay, not perfect. Not quite good enough. I'm thinking we're going to go back at it here in a little bit. First I'll loosen the bolts for the neck and pull off this neck. You know, there's a number of shims that go inside that dictate the neck angle. We're going to be swapping those out for some skinnier ones. So the one that was installed from the factory is a number 6, or a +6. And the fretboard extension shim is a 0. So we're going from a +6 to a +16. We're going up 10 numbers. I'll also be reshaping the top of this saddle because the low E is a little too high for my liking, and the B and the E have little gouges, little multiple string notches in there. I want to clean that all up, just make sure that it's not sounding like a sitar or have any kind of ringing or buzzing. And it was a little tight too. I'm going to probably have to do a little sanding. First I'll put one of these black purflings down underneath it. I think my goal here is to get 2 shims under the saddle to raise the saddle up. So for the fretboard extension, we'll go from a 0 to a -20, because before I was getting a 0.010 of an inch feeler gauge in this area, and now I can get a 5. So it's even with going with that dramatic drop under the fingerboard, it's still kicking up a little bit because there's a pickup under the fretboard extension. Right at the end of the fretboard, there's a pickup there. So now I'm going to finish off this job with some of the Glue Boost Fill and Finish Ultra Thin, drop it down into the poly. The crack still had the poly kind of cupped on either side of the crack, and I want to drop fill super glue into there, accelerate, and then I'll level it down. I'm going to heat it up with that hair dryer, do some accelerating. We'll put a little accelerator on the paper towel, speed things up. And then we'll scrape with the razor blade. This razor blade has masking tape on either end. Little outriggers there on the razor blade. I also put a burr on one side of the razor blade so it works as a really heavy-duty scraper. Very precise. I'll also go in there and do some super glue in the crack across the ebony bridge. There was a crack across the pinholes. We'll get that looking better before we're done. I'll put in a still photo of that to show you. Right now that we're leveled, somewhat leveled, we got a head start anyways. We'll start hitting with some of the Super Oscillix 800 grit. And then we'll just work our way up to about 2,000 grit. And go through all the different grits. And then I'll wet sand it with Trizac 3000. The wet sanding hardens and cures the super glue even further. A little bit of the Meguiar's 105 Ultra Cut Compound. And we'll buff that off with a dry rag. And dadgummit, we got it pretty darn level. Still a little discolored, but as you see the reflection, both sides, very level. Very nice indeed. Now I'll get over here and
start working on some of these frets. We had this guitar's never been in the shop for any kind of fret maintenance, and we've got some pretty big divots, especially at the B string first fret, I'm sorry, B string first fret. I did a little thing too with these first couple frets. I rotated them, kind of like when you go to the tire guy and you get your tires rotated. You do that with your frets sometimes. Before you need a whole set of tires, you can rotate them like 20 times. So after leveling, we re-crown with a 3-corner file. This is a Nicholson. And there's the Music Nomad fret shield for Fender 25.5 inch scale. I gotta come and hit it from the other side. Make sure all the frets are the same shape. Then I'll get hitting it with my sandpaper arsenal. I go from 320, 400, Trizact Burgundy, 600, 800, 1000, Trizact Gray, 1200, 1500, and 2000 grit. And I do that all with my little bull-nosed scrub block. You get that from String Tech Workstations. Got a lot of money. I've explained how to make that. You can make it yourself, you know. There's the Burgundy Scotch Brite. I do that right over the fretboard and the frets. This fretboard's a little dirty. And then I'm right back at it with the 400 grit. Yeah, if you want to make one of those scrub blocks, you can just take a little block of pine and create a bull nose on one side with a belt sander or a disc sander of some kind, or you can use a chisel, or you can use a plane and get it nice and round on one side and put you a little piece of foam and a little piece of vinyl over that, tack it on there. Last thing I do is 4/0 steel wool. Makes them all shiny and clean. We're going to use 10 through 47 acoustic phosphor bronze XS D'Addario strings. I like to put the string through with about 6 inches above the fretboard of slack. I go over. And then when I start winding, the rest of them go under. I like to get about 3 or 4 wraps under on the wound strings, and then about 6 or 7 wraps under on the plain strings. Plain steel, that is. Clip them off. Clipping the excess string length is important so you don't jab yourself later. Now these nut slots had gotten a little too deep and they were ringing at the first fret. So I'm going to fill them in with Joe Glazer's special nut rescue powder. Comes in 3 different flavors: white, off-white, and black. I'll get all the dirt out of those nut slots with a file and some naphtha on a paper towel. Here's the off-white nut rescue powder, and that's Lola the cat. She loves to rescue nuts. She wants a piece of the action. Next, I'll take StewMac number 10 thin CA glue down in each nut slot, and it hardens in seconds. Little paper towel right there to absorb up the excess. I use the StewMac accelerator. I'll get back with the Music Nomad diamond files. Just want to lightly round over the bottom of each string slot, so when I tune them up they don't catch. Just give us a nice smooth sound when we tune. I'll just use a little 600 grit on the top to get any CA glue overflow. Get it all smoothed out, looking like it looked from the factory. But we could replace the nut, but my customer has a gig this weekend and we'll want to get it back to her. Now notice the A string has a white plastic washer. It's missing on the E, the 6th string. Plastic washer has been disintegrated. It's also missing on the 3rd string, the G tuner. So I have some all parts replacement washers. We're going to put those in and get these tuners working again like they should. Here they are. And now I think we're about ready to hear this thing. We'll just put the truss rod cover back on and we'll give her a listen. Well, we got her all fixed up. I sure appreciate you guys hanging around till the end. I hope to see you around soon. Catch you later.